As you can see, conditions here at Anglesey have changed completely for the second race in the BRSCC Mazda MX-5 Super Cup. Gone is the sun, and we're now facing torrential downpour. Jack Harding on pole position. It's going to be interesting to see what happens behind, as it's the first time the cars are going to be racing in these conditions. Andy, it's over to you for the rest of the grid.
Yes, this is going to be an interesting one, I think. Appalling conditions, quite frankly, here at Anglesey. There's no nicer place in the world to be on a nice sunny day, but it is quite grim when the weather turns like this. They start this one how they finished the first race, so it's Jack Harding, our race one winner, on pole position. Championship leader Luke Herbert alongside him. Liam Murphy and Ben Short, row 2. Tom Roach has to beat Luke Herbert in this race, you feel. He'll have to do it from the third row alongside Johnny Greensmith, Nick Dunn and Richard Wickland, row 4. Jake Bailey and Aidan Hills, the fifth row, then Sam Tatler and Paul Sheard, Brian Chandler and Carl Garnett. Nathan Bell had a 5-second time penalty in the first race, which dropped him down the order. That was as a result of exceeding the track limits. He has Simon Fleet alongside him, then Alec Livesley and Gary Townsend, Alistair Kellett and Jeremy Crook round out the top 20. Steve Dolman and Alex Miller are next, then Greg Catton and Will Sharp with a repaired car after his race 1 accident at the first corner. Then it's Duncan Harris and Steve Boyle, Simon Orange and Oliver Payne, with George Grant and Alex King at the back. Alex King, of course, the other driver involved, with Will Sharp down at the first corner. Well, that was some way into the race that accident happened. The first corner, we could see some incidents here on the very first lap of the race because the conditions are treacherous, and as Lloyd quite rightly said, they haven't raced in these conditions here yet this weekend. Red lights on, they go out now, away we go. Can Luke Herbert snatch the lead away from Jack Harding on the run down towards the first corner and get himself out of the ball of spray that will be chasing those leading cars? Yes, he can. Herbert grabs the lead, and Ben Short has come through into second place. Brilliant start from him. Tom Roach, though, coming through into third place if he can. Tom is a bit of a rainmeister in these cars. We know that he will be very, very happy indeed to see the weather turning for this second race, and he'll be hoping for race 3 as well, because in the wet there are a few quicker than Tom Roach. Everyone safely into the hairpin banking and all safely out the other side, which is good to see. But out of Church Corner they slip and slide already. Herbert is getting away. Ben Short is there in second place. Tom Roach has already had contact with someone, look, because his left hand side wing mirror has been folded in, but he won't be looking in the mirrors. He's only focusing on going forwards here, and he wants to try and take second place away here from Ben Short. He's supremely late on the brakes in towards Rocket Corner, and Roach is going through, is he? They're side by side. The grip is on the outside line in the wet though, so Short hangs on for now, but then it's Roach on the outside line through the right hand pass of Rocket, and look at the mid corner speed he can take. It's just about enough to keep himself alongside, and he's got the outside line again for Peel. The inside line where all the rubber has been laid down in the dry is not the grippiest part of the track in the wet, and look at the exit speed there from Roach. He's going to go right around the outside of Short and get the inside line down towards the left-hander at Siemens. He's going to go through surely, and Tom Roach, with a beautifully executed first lap here of race number 2, has worked his way through from 5th on the grid to 2nd place already. This, remember, is exactly what Jack Harding did in the first race. Came from 5th to 2nd in a lap and then picked his moment to take the lead away from it was Luke Herbert at the time, down into the final corner. And so Tom Roach trying to recreate what Jack Harding did in race 1, but it is his championship rival Luke Herbert ahead of him. No one anywhere near the racing line on the way into the braking zone at the bus stop. Then at the last second, Herbert ducks out to the outside of the track to get the optimum line through the left-hander there. Short in 3rd. Jack Harding then has been slightly mugged here after a poor start, down to 4th. 5th place is Johnny Greensmith by the looks of it, the grey car with the orange flash. And then I think Richard Wickland, peering through the gloom, was next up. Yes, he was. Then Liam Murphy. Then it is Aidan Hills, with possibly Brian Chandler in behind him. Now, Brian is pretty handy in the wet as well, so he could be on for one of his best finishes if he can keep it on the island. That in itself, though, is not that easy to do, it must be said. Back out of the banking, down towards Church Corner. Herbert getting away here from Tom Roach in 2nd, and everyone else fighting over 3rd. So we need to watch the lap times now, watch that gap between the top 2. Can Tom Roach close in and overhaul Luke Herbert? It looks unlikely that any other cars are going to be able to get past Luke Herbert, so the chances of sort of taking big points out of Luke are maybe a bit slim in this one, but Roach will certainly give it his all. Onto the brakes they go at the top of the hill. There's Murphy, almost pushing Richard Wickland through the first part of Rocket, and then the right-hand part of the Rocket complex, the 180-degree right-hander, and Liam Murphy trying to get a bit of a switch back there, but you can see as soon as he got onto the inside line there, the rear end of the car twitched, he lost traction, he lost grip, he lost momentum, and just couldn't quite make it stick. Through Peel, no one anywhere near the apex through there though, as Roach is definitely catching Luke Herbert. And I might just have to correct my comment from a moment ago where I didn't think that anyone else would be able to go with Tom Roach here, but Ben Short has. So Ben Short sticking with Roach. We could soon have 3 cars for the race lead, and in fact it already is side by side for the race lead. Look, Tom Roach going to the outside line down towards the hairpin now. Can he go right around the outside? Well, he runs out of road completely actually on the way into the corner, but his exit speed could be a bit better than Luke Herbert's. No, it's not enough to get himself alongside. Down the hill towards the final turn, Luke Herbert defending the inside. He has no choice but to do so because he knows that Tom Roach will be on full attack mode here. By my rough maths, there are now about 17 points between the two of them. It was 13 coming into this weekend. Roach needs to try and do something about that. Down towards turn 1 they go again. Roach flicks it through the left-hander. Liam Murphy there, side by side, further back, as Roach still hasn't found a way past Luke Herbert. He's still got a bit of a gap though over Ben Short, so he doesn't have to worry about defending just yet. Look at the speed out of the corner, but look at the conditions. Visibility very poor indeed. Now back down towards the final corner come the leading 3, and it is Roach still. Roach now into the lead, excuse me. Tom Roach has found a way past Luke Herbert. We didn't see where that happened, but Tom Roach has now found his way into the race lead. He's pulling a bit of a gap already over Herbert in 2nd place. Ben Short still there in 3rd. 4th place is some way back now, and that appears to be the Jack Harding and Liam Murphy scrap, but we'll try and catch up with them in a moment or two. They are so far back you can hardly see them, but it is still, I think, Jack Harding just about in 4th place, but Tom Roach crucially has the lead now. Whereas in the first race, I think Tom maybe was trying a bit of gamesmanship to try and get some cars between himself and Luke Herbert. In this one, in these conditions, that just isn't sensible. The best option here for Tom Roach is to simply pull away, get as far away from Luke Herbert as possible, and let the cards fall where they may. At the moment, Ben Short not really putting Herbert under too much pressure, but there's always a chance that as the race goes on, maybe, just maybe, Ben Short could get there and get past Luke Herbert as well and take some more points off the championship leader, but that's out of Roach's control really. Murphy, by the way, is 4th now, not Jack Harding. There is Jack Harding in 5th with Richard Wickland now trying to get that 5th place away from him. Through the left and the right at Rocket and back down towards Peel, and Richard Wickland looking for an overlap there at the inside. Don't think he was going to be able to make that stick though, as we said earlier on in the race. The grip is on the outside through there, so whilst it's very tempting to go for the gap up the inside, you'll very often find yourself with 0 grip and actually losing time rather than gaining it, so you've got to resist that temptation in the wet. It really does take a unique set of skills to race in these conditions, and that's why certain drivers like Tom Roach, for example, do just seem to excel. Liam Murphy, another good driver in the wet, we've seen him have some of his best races in the past in slippery conditions. Wickland almost got the overlap again then, coming through the middle of the hairpin. This is by far the closest battle inside the top 5, although for 2nd place it's far from sorted. Luke Herbert doesn't appear even to have the pace to go after Tom Roach, who already is getting amongst some back markers as we go on to the final lap of the race, but Ben Short is close enough to worry Luke Herbert here, I think. He's not close enough to force the blue number 50 car to drive defensively just yet, but he's there, he's in the mirrors, he's a constant threat, and Luke will definitely be mindful of the fact that he can't really afford to lose too many points here to Tom Roach, but a 2nd place would still be sufficient for him to hold on to a very healthy championship lead. Back through Church they go again, and onto the back straight for the final time. It's been a bit of a calmer affair, this one, but it has, so far at least, worked out in the favour of Tom Roach. He's still, at the moment, scoring less points than Luke Herbert over the course of the weekend, but we still have a 3rd race to go, of course, and that we expect will be in fairly similar conditions, so Roach will be feeling quite confident about that, I'd imagine. As long as he can survive the early stages of the race, if he wins this one, he'll be on pole position for that final race of the weekend. That will be making life a bit easier for him. But look at Ben Short. Ben Short has really closed in now on Luke Herbert as they turn their way through Peel. There's only really probably 2 more overtaking opportunities. The next corner at Siemens is very difficult to pass because it's very steep downhill and a braking look, but then when they get down at the hairpin there is a chance maybe that Ben Short could find a way through there, or even into the bus stop at the end of the lap. So we need to focus on that fight for second place. Look how close they are. Down towards the hairpin, back out of the hairpin already is coming the race leader. And Ben Short doing everything he can here to try and find a way past Luke Herbert. Tom Roach looks good for the race win. I'm not sure that Ben Short is quite close enough really to launch an attack. He's going to have a look to the inside, more to try and distract Herbert than anything else though. And I think that Luke should hang on. Tom Roach though is going to take a very important race victory. He will narrow the gap slightly to the championship leader Luke Herbert, who just about hangs on to second place. Ben Short it is who comes home in third, and then the long wait for fourth place. In the end it was Liam Murphy in fourth, ahead of Jack Harding fifth, with Richard Wicklin just denied a top five finish in sixth place. Brian Chandler did have a good race in the wet into seventh place. He got ahead of Johnny Greensmith late on down in eighth, then Jake Bain and Carl Garnett round out the top 10. Sam Tatler's next up ahead of Alistair Kellett, Aidan Hills, Simon Orange and Paul Sheard down in 15th, then Alec Livesley, Simon Fleet, Nathan Bell, Gary Townsend and Nick Dunn round out the top 20. George Grant had a better race this time around in 21st, so too did Alex Miller, who was again finding himself battling with Will Sharp, just getting the better of him for 25th.
Tom, you seem to have found a sweet spot in these conditions.
Yeah, the car felt brilliant. It was nice and wet out there, and first wet race of the year, so it was it was good. I love it when it's wet. It's car moves around, and it's everything becomes a bit more difficult, and great fun.
Luke, a great start, but Tom really pushed you hard there.
I mean, Tom's phenomenal in the wet. I can always remember from 2012 and 2011 he was phenomenal in the wet, and to come from fifth, I thought, at the start I started to break away. I thought, this is all right. It's the first time I've driven it since 2012 in the wet, so it's a good race. I'm happy with second. Ben was phenomenal at the end. I was lucky to keep him off. But I clawed 3 places on Tom yesterday. He's brought 1 back on me today. So the weekend so far is a success. We'll see how it goes in the third race.
Ben, that was a thrilling race, especially the last couple of laps there. And sitting behind Tom and Luke, were you waiting for them to take each other off?
Yeah, you got that down to a T. I thought that was on the cards. Having followed them in race 1, they were getting fairly touchy-feely. So I thought with a bit of rain, it might bring that little battle to an end. It didn't. The car came strong to us at the end. BS Motorsport set out to sort of be all right at the start, but then come strong towards the end, which it did. But I think I left it a little bit too late to put the hammer down. I tried to get past Luke into the last corner, but I didn't manage it.